Hey folks, so here we are with the diagnosis of the dryer that won't dry. It spins, it makes a racket, it warms up, you feel the sides are warm, but it just doesn't seem to dry the clothes. And so what I ended up doing was I took this panel off. There was a screw here and a screw here, and I took this front cover off that was oriented like this. And then I took this front, this entire big piece with the door on it. There's a screw here and here. I tilted it out and it popped out. So it was, these little wedge things were in here. So that let me get the door out. And there was a little tiny, it's back there now, but anyway, there's a little bundle of cables that had like a plastic thing around them that was screwed there. So I released that screw so I could get these cables more slack. And also on here, the connectors were on here to detect where the door was open. I disconnected those and then I could move the door to the side. And then I took off the several screws along here to remove this panel. And in fact, I think there was an additional panel along the side that I took off as well. So here I am, and you can see there's lint all over the place. And now I understand why they say dryers can, cause fires. This dryer is like 18-20 years old, and I doubt it's ever been cleaned. And what I can see is there's lint built up here and lint in the bottom, but okay, so to get the cover off the heating element, this thing right here, you remove this bottom screw out of there and then basically hinge the thing out and it comes off like that because it's clicked in here. Now I want to point out something I saw. Now, I'm not trying to freak anybody out here because I bet you every single dryer that has any lint has it, but there's definitely discoloration right there on this lint that was collected on the front cover. Without a doubt, that is burnt. Like it's black and it's charred. And if you look in there, there is charred kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but anyway, there's definitely lint that has been altered along that element. That probably gets brutally hot in there. And so, I can see how if this built right up, you could get a fire in there. So anyway, I'm going to clean that all out. You got to be careful because these wires are fragile. So you don't want to go smashing around in there with the vacuum, but I will clean that out very, very well. And then put the cover on and be comfortable that it's good for another quite a while. This is the fan right here. And I can spin that fan with ease, and you notice the fan is very sloppy. The impeller is very sloppy. The shaft isn't moving, but the fan itself is moving. And so what I think has happened is just over 20 years, that plastic has eroded enough that it doesn't grip the shaft anymore. So what I'm going to do is, unfortunately, I got to take this whole cover off. I don't think it's going to be terrible, and I don't need to take the whole drum and everything out of there, so hopefully. So anyway, I'm going to take this area off and see if I can get that out. I know I had to take this out, and it actually has 4 screws in the back. And I vacuumed it all out, vacuumed the wires, the back of the door, all under here, everywhere I could think of, and everywhere I could see. And as you do that, you expose more screws and learn about how the thing comes apart. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of this. Okay, so just like that. Put that guy aside. Oh yeah, you can actually see where the fan's broken there now. Anyway, okay. My pliers are maybe too big for this. Oh. Okay, I'll get the right thing. Okay, so we've got our correct pliers here. Nothing makes me feel like growing up more than having the right tool for the job. So here we go. Don't want to damage that. There. Just like that. Okay, let's put that aside. Now this, hopefully we'll just slide it off, like that. And I did take a coat hanger and went right to the back of this thing and kind of agitated all the fluffy stuff that I couldn't get with my vacuum alone. So agitated it all and then vacuumed it out. So it's even got a part number on it. So that's the part I need to replace right there. Okay, so I took the 4 bolts out of here and this just slides out. Now you can get a really good look at what's under there. Here's the motor and here's the belt tensioner. Okay, so saga continues. I priced out the replacement blower fan on Amazon, and it came to like 70 bucks. It's pretty expensive for what it is. And I called my local parts place, and they had one for 22 bucks, brand new. So there we go. I don't know if it's an aftermarket, but I don't care. Next thing I want to show you though is while I'm in here, I did check the price of the belt. It's 20 some bucks. So I'm gonna buy a new belt, put it on, because that idler looks like it's kind of out of adjustment, right? Like, you know, it doesn't look like there's much more room for that belt to stretch before this belt is touching this part of the belt. So I'm gonna put a new belt on it, and my expectation is it's gonna look like that when I put it on. There'll be a lot of, you know, distance between here and here because the new belt will be shorter. Second thing I checked is these idler pulleys. Now these are what keeps the drum up when the thing spins. And I checked this one and it's good. So what you do, what I did to check them, is take the weight off of the drum, or take the drum off of the idler pulley, and then spin the idler pulley. And if it spins easy, well, that's generally a sign that all the lubricant's gone out of the bearings. And if it rattles, that's even worse. Now this one didn't make any noise, but I'm going to show you what happens when I spin. I don't know if the camera's going to have any view of this or not, but anyway. Spin this one and see if this is a familiar noise for your dryer. If your dryer sounds like that, it's an idler pulley that's gone bad. The way you get those out of there, same thing as a blower fan. There's a little clip on the front, and I'm going to pull that out, pull the idler wheel off, put a new one on. Okay, so I priced these out. They're only about 12 bucks, so they're not very expensive. But they can't get one of these for a week. And what it comes with is the wheel with the bushing, and then there's basically the shaft that it goes on. It looks like a bolt. So it comes all for 12 bucks. What happens is the shaft wears and the bushing wears. I don't know which one wears more. Maybe one's made of softer metal than the other. I don't know. But anyway, I need to get this thing back together. It's not really acceptable for me to have this apart for 5 days. So I'm going to put some grease on the shaft and put this back together. Now, the pulley has 2 different sides, and I'm looking at the one I haven't removed yet. So it looks like this is the side that goes out. And this little thing right here was like a C-shaped washer. It's got a slight curve to it. That was on the inside. Then this washer was on the outside, and then the circlip was outside of that. So I'm going to just put a little bit of grease on it and reassemble the whole thing, put the circlip back on, and hopefully it won't rattle as much as it did before. Okay, so I just put the belt in. What I did to do that is get these 4 screws out. I only took 2 out at a time, so one side, there's a little bit of bent metal on this piece that goes inside of a hole in that piece. So even if I have to take the screws out, it won't fall off. But anyway, I still chose to only do 2 at a time. I bring this piece of metal about 1 inch out from that, and then I slid the belt out here, and then I put the screws back. And then of course, this little blue wire right here is connected to something that connected to this. So I had to undo that, haul the blue wire out here, take the old, take it through the old belt, put it through the new belt, put the blue wire through there and hook it back up again. Just do that to tuck it out of the way. And then I removed these 2 screws, took the old belt out, put the new belt in, ran it all around. This is how the belt routes around the idler pulley. So it comes off of the drum, around the motor, around the idler pulley, and back up again. And surprisingly, I thought that the new belt would be tighter, like shorter or smaller in diameter, which would make the idler pulley more like that. But in fact, it appears to be about the same length. This amount of space is the same before and after the belt change. So I guess I I don't know. The old belt did appear to have some cracking, so I don't care. It's done now, and I'm never going to probably change it again for the life of this thing. And I did take these pulleys off. Careful not to lose that little spacer shim in the back behind this. Anyway, I took them off, greased them all, put them back on. The shim was in the back, then this pulley, and then a washer in the front, and then the circlip in the front of that. So that's all good. I am going to wipe the grease off of the opening there, because that is just going to be an attractant for lint. Alright, so we put the blower rear housing in place and these 4 screws on, and now we've got our new blower fanny thing. And of course this shaft is a keyed shaft. So you line up the keyway, sorry, and loose circlip back on here. That's well seated in its little groove. And if you're in doubt, try and pull the fan back off. And if that circlip doesn't let it go, then you're in good shape. And this guy, nothing wrong with the original clip. I'll put the original back on. Parts. Oh, it looks like a pretty flimsy design. Okay, good there. Next will be this cover going back on. Alright, so continuing on with the reassembly, I tightened up all these screws that held this, not that, but this cover on right here, and there's another single metal screw right there that needed to be tightened up. And then I put this outer cowling on, and it's held in place by 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on the inside. And the next thing is this big cover that goes on like that. And don't forget the ground screw, or the ground wire goes on there with a metal screw that had, I believe, a washer on it. The rest of the screws didn't have a washer, so I'll be checking that in a moment. Okay, so we got the screws on here. Some of the screws near the bottom were so rusted I didn't put them back in. I found other metal screws I had that actually had a Robertson number 2 head, which is much nicer to use than this rusted out hex head anyway. So put in new screws, give everything a check, all looking good there. And I think what I'm going to do is reconnect the door sensor and then turn the breaker back on, see if it works. Okay, so here we are, fan running, motor running. You can see the elements lit up there, and I think we're all good. When I was vacuuming up, I vacuumed up the little screw that holds this in place that needs to go into there, so I'll get that out of the central vac container and put that in. Let's see how it is. We start it up here. Just like it's supposed to. Sounds like brand new. Alright, well, the only thing left to do is clean the guck out of the bottom of this cover and put it up in place and put the 2 screws that hold it in. So that's going to close this do-it-yourself video off. This is DIY Guy 123, and good luck with your do-it-yourself projects.